and welcome to Tiny Tide's Storytime. My name is Ariel, and today we'll be reading Amy and the Orca, written by Lawrence M. Zaccaro and illustrated by Ariel Friesner.
Amy was 8 years old. She lived in a small town near the Pacific Ocean with her mom and dad and her little brother Eric. Amy loved her family, liked playing with her friends, and she loved animals. Her favorite thing to do was walk to the ocean with her dad. From there, their special spot, they watched the sun set over the water. They saw sea lions and bald eagles. They even saw orca whales. The orcas were her favorite animal, but they usually weren't close enough to see. Amy had lots of friends and played with them during recess and after school. She liked to read, liked school, and tried to be nice to everyone she knew. One day, Amy's dad was listening to a song in the living room. Some of the words in the song said, "Knights in white satin." Amy had only seen knights in silver armor, but the music sounded pretty to her. In the middle of the song, Amy heard a most beautiful sound. It soared like the voice of a magical bird. "What's making that sound?" Amy asked her dad. "That's a flute," he said. "A man is blowing into it to make that sound." Amy asked, "Can girls make a flute sound like that?" "Of course they can, but anyone who plays an instrument that well has to learn how. It's hard, like learning to read." Amy said, "I want to play the flute." Andrew was a young orca whale. Though he was as big as a pony, he was only 2 years old. Andrew was part of a family of orcas called Elpod. His mother and father, 2 aunts, and his older brother and sister all lived in Elpod. He sometimes teased his brother and sister. They swam together through the cold ocean water looking for food. Sometimes they swam near the rocky shore of Amy's favorite spot. Andrew was very happy in Elpod. He loved to sing in his orca voice. To people, orca singing sounds like chirping and squeaking. His parents told him not to sing, so fish in the ocean couldn't hear them swimming. The more his parents told him to stop singing, the sadder Andrew felt. One day he realized that if he swam further behind, they didn't tell him to stop. Though that made him happier, he was still sad no one wanted to hear him sing. Miss Lily was the music teacher at Amy's school. After classes, Miss Lily taught Amy how to blow into her new flute to make music. At first, it didn't sound anything like the song her dad had listened to. But Amy practiced every day. She practiced instead of watching TV. Sometimes she even practiced instead of walking to the ocean with her dad. Miss Lily taught Amy songs to play, and she was getting better, but no one seemed to like her music. Sometimes her mom and dad told her to practice in her room with the door closed. Except for Miss Lily, teachers and students didn't like her music either, not even her friends. Older kids at school laughed at her when she practiced. It made Amy sad that other people didn't like to listen. Sometimes she didn't feel like playing her flute. One day, Amy's mom and dad asked her if she would like to have a picnic lunch with the whole family at her special spot. That made her happy, and she got ready to go. "I have an idea," her dad said. "Bring your flute with you." Amy was surprised, but said, "Okay." They had a nice lunch at the special spot. When they were done eating, her dad said, "You can play as much as you want here, and as loud as you want." Amy thought that was a good idea. She began playing a slow song. Her music seemed to sail out over the ocean. That day, Andrew was swimming with Elpod. He wasn't feeling happy. He wasn't teasing his brother or sister. He wasn't singing. Then one time, when he came up to take a breath, he thought he heard something that might be singing. "Look," said Amy's mom. "Orcas! They're going to swim right by us." "Yay," said Amy. "I've never seen them this close." Amy played her flute a little louder, playing the prettiest song she knew. Andrew could clearly hear this new music. It wasn't another orca, but it sounded friendly and nice. He got very excited. Each time he took a breath, he swam slower and listened longer. As they watched the orcas of Elpod swim by, Amy's mom noticed Andrew was swimming farther behind the rest. "The little one in the back," she said. "Looks like he hears you. Keep playing." Finally, Andrew was in front of them. He stopped completely and listened. Then he began singing happily with his orca chirping and squeaking. "He's singing back," Amy's dad whispered excitedly. "Do you hear?" Amy had never been so excited in her whole life. Her favorite animal liked her flute playing and was singing back to her. As Amy played her pretty song, Andrew kept singing. It made everyone so happy. Amy's family had never seen or heard anything so wonderful. When Elpod finally swam away, Andrew made sure to remember that spot. Amy practiced her flute there in nice weather, keeping a close eye on the water. Every time Elpod swam by that spot, Andrew would listen. He didn't always hear it, but when the weather was warmer, Amy would be there almost every time, happily playing her flute. Amy loved playing her flute after that. She worked hard at practicing. She played every year in school and was in the high school orchestra. None of the kids ever laughed at her then. Everyone loved to hear her play. She went to a special college to learn to play the flute, much better. The Orcas and Elpod didn't mind that Andrew stopped to sing. Whenever they had enough food and could rest, they all stopped and sang too. When Amy went to college, Andrew was full grown and still an Elpod. For years to come, on days Amy played in their special spot, Andrew and all of Elpod stopped and sang along with her flute. Their beautiful music together filled the land and water around them.
Thanks for joining us on Tiny Tide Storytime. If you liked our video, give it a thumbs up. And if you wish to continue to get more of our educational videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook at the Puget Sound Estuarium. Bye!